Hi, hello, welcome. Good to see you. So, I saw FNAF 2 movie last night, and oh my god, that movie was f***ing insane. So, I'm gonna try to go as chronologically as I can with this movie. My brain is very bad with this with this type of stuff. But the beginning of the movie is basically just like a flashback to 1982, and we see, Freddy's up and running, and it's great and it's awesome. And we see Charlie, or Charlotte, she's more so called Charlotte in this movie. We see her by herself, kind of sitting by the stage, and then Vanessa comes up to her, and it's a whole sequence, and I guess they're at some birthday party or whatever. But while they're at this party, Charlotte, she sees this random kid, and it is in fact a random kid. A lot of people thought this would be Sammy or Michael Afton, but it's just a random kid. So this random kid, she sees him being taken to the back by Springtrap, and she's like, what the f-? And trying to alert everyone, but no one wants to listen to her for no reason. I guess just because she's a kid, but it was just so dismissive, just alright, whatever, shut up, kid. Point is, she ends up in the back room trying to rescue this kid, and she's able to pull him out, but Springtrap, or William, whatever, catches on to her and ends up stabbing her in the back, quite literally. And we see that kind of in the trailer where she comes out and screams and kind of goes to her knees. So the kid is fine, she rescues the kid, but she is dead, and the trapdoor opens, she falls into it, and out comes the puppet carrying Charlotte's body, which, holy fuck, that imagery is so good. That is such great imagery right there. I fucking love that shot. After that, we go into the proper intro credit scene. They kind of do something similar to last time where it was that 8-bit intro credits, and then we cut back to, I think it's 2002 or whatever this movie takes place. I don't know why I thought it was 2006 or 5 or whatever I thought it was in my predictions video. I think I thought the first movie took place in 2003 for some reason. It does not. It takes place in 2000. So yeah, we come back to 2002 and we open up on Vanessa, and I gotta say, I really did like what they do with Vanessa and Mike's relationship. It is kind of very, I don't know if strained is quite the right term. It's definitely more strained and basically non-existent by the end of the movie. But at the beginning of this movie is kind of just in a weird place, because Mike doesn't know if he can fully trust Vanessa, I guess. And Vanessa's also still working through her issues with her dad and everything. I do like how Mike is really trying to help her. And there was one point later in the movie where it's I'm trying to fix everything. I'm trying to fix my house, my work situation, my relationship with Abby. I'm trying to fix you. And I'm like, oh, okay, so Mike is an I can fix her type of guy. I don't know why. That was just really funny to me. Mike really looks at Vanessa and is like, I can fix her. So I guess Mike and Vanessa are on a date type thing. That's when they're talking and everything. And during this sequence, Mike suggests that Vanessa do kind of the same thing that he did in the first movie, but traversing through her own dreams in order to confront her father and her past and everything like that, because that's the only way that he feels like they would be able to move on and everything. So she does try and do that, and actually this dream sequence happens fairly early in the movie, and this sequence is f***ing insane. She gets into her dreams and she's trying to confront and talk to her father, saying I'm not afraid of you, that sort of stuff. And we hear some interesting stuff from William. The line in particular, William basically says, Vanessa, you know that you were my favorite. So right then and there, I was like, I was wrong. In my previous video about my predictions for this movie, I predicted that Vanessa did not have a sibling, that she was an only child, and that the kids in the pictures in her house were just of her and Charlie, maybe. I was wrong. She does in fact have a sibling. They don't go into it during this dream sequence who her sibling is, but that line about her being his favorite definitely hints to that, because why else would he say that? Anyway, so we kind of see Vanessa running through the halls and stuff like that, and she makes it into William's workshop, and we kind of see some of the blueprints and schematics or designs of the animatronics, which I think we saw in the trailer. But she ends up in this kind of back area of William's workshop, and in this very back corner is Baby from Sister Location. It's Baby from Sister Location, which the animatronic looked awesome, by the way. It was 1 for 1. That was spot on. Like, holy, it's in the movie for like 2 whole seconds, maybe, but it looks so good. And I was just like gobsmacked because what? Baby is here in the back of William's workshop, no less. So what does this mean? Because this is a dream sequence, but presumably this animatronic did actually exist or does still exist. So what are we gonna do about that? Is this something that we're exploring in the 3rd movie, maybe? Or potentially a 4th movie? I don't know. It was just like there and then it was gone. During this also, William is saying something about Vanessa always being his. I guess like she feels like she's afraid that she'll end up like her father, that she'll end up carrying on his legacy or something. But during like the first time he says that is like when she's nearby Baby, and my brain thought, wait, so did he want to put her into Baby so that he could always keep Vanessa around to a certain extent, you know? He would always have control over Vanessa and she would technically never like grow up or anything like that. I don't know if that's exactly what that meant the first time he said it. I might be wrong, but that's just how I interpreted that first time. So yeah, that was real interesting. It was insane. I really was just like not expecting that at all. I'll circle back to Vanessa later, but right now I want to backtrack to Abby and her plot line. So Abby in this movie, she's I think 11 now, and I'm gonna say it now, I think I nailed it on the head. I wasn't specific with my predictions in this part, but I did kind of predict that this movie would be similar to the Twisted Ones, and I think I fucking nailed it, dude, because this is very similar in ways to the Twisted Ones. Not exact, of course. The reason why I'm saying all of this is because Abby is taking a robotics class in her school in this new movie, which I should have called that. Like, that seems so obvious in hindsight. I didn't think about it at the time though, but like that's such an obvious thing because in the Twisted Ones, Charlie is taking a robotics class at her college. So like that feels like such an obvious parallel for them to do and everything that like I can't believe I didn't call that. Anyways, so yes, Abby's taking this robotics class and her teacher, played by Wayne Knight, the teacher is a bag who only cares about getting the award or whatever for the state, I was gonna say the state fair, for the science fair. He only cares about getting first place. It also, like, Abby's place in school, it felt kind of weird to me because I couldn't tell if she was like popular or not. She has like one sort of friend who's this random ass kid, but it seems like he's her only friend, but there's also other kids that are like, hey, you want to sit with us? So is she popular? Is she like an outcast? That is one of the complaints I have with this film, which is that they don't really explore Abby's whole emotions and everything, because she went through a lot last year too. Even though the animatronics were her friends, they did towards the end try and like kill her essentially. And I'm not saying that she like has to be like upset about it or whatever, but I feel like she should be a bit more cautious and everything. I feel like she doesn't like, she's not very traumatized by what happened, which like, I mean, I know she's a kid, I know she's young, and I know with the animatronics and the ghosts that they're her friends, and she probably didn't take it that personally because she knows that it was William's fault that they were acting that way. But I still feel like there could have been something done there to just emphasize like her mindset and all this. I don't know. I wish we had gotten more into how she's dealing. I feel like she's a bit too trusting of the toy animatronics when she gets to the previous location. Whenever she sees Toy Chica, she's like, hey, you look different. And Toy Chica's just like, yeah, don't worry about it. And she's like, oh, okay. I mean, I know that the plot needs to happen. It has to kick off some way. But I feel like that could have been done a little bit differently. Maybe she should just at least question, like, hey, I know that, like, he was locked up and everything, but, is it possible that he's controlling these animatronics too? Or are these guys really my friends? Like, I don't know, maybe there's something else. And that's just how I feel at the moment. You know what, I completely forgot to talk about the paranormal investigators. So the paranormal investigators are like the spooky specters or whatever the hell their show's called, and they go off, to visit the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. They're invited or something by this guy who we saw in a trailer, and he shows them a tour of the building or whatever, and of course, like, these guys die. Like, they're not really of any importance. I do feel like the deaths in this movie were more gruesome, which is actually pretty cool. One of the camera guys that gets killed by Mangle, he's like dismembered, his body parts fall to the floor. Like, Jesus Christ. Obviously they don't show anything super up close, but like, Jesus, oh my God. We see also the paranormal girl, Lisa, played by McKenna Grace, that she goes to the back where the puppet is because she is hearing a music box, which is like an actual physical music box that is by the puppet's box, which is a really cool, like, good way to visualize or make sense of the puppet's music box in a movie setting. Anyway, she goes in there, she shuts off the box, and the puppet comes out and possesses her, which I really love the puppet in this movie. The puppet is basically the main antagonist, and I really love what they do with that. They actually do show kind of like McKenna's character getting possessed, and that kind of like shocked me, I guess. I mean, it's something like gruesome or whatever, but it is like just shocking because we never really seen that sort of thing happen in FNAF. So after all the other guys are killed and then she gets possessed, this guy comes into the room where she is, and I guess is like trying to help her, or help Charlotte really, before like she comes after him trying to like attack him or kill him, I guess. And he leaves the building, he goes outside and says, "Welcome back, Charlotte." Hello? What do you mean? So now the puppet is possessing a body, and we also see Vanessa later during that scene where Mike says that he's trying to fix her, I guess, or whatever. And she's explaining how she knew Charlotte when they were kids, because Mike went back to Freddy's with Abby at one point because Abby wanted to fix her friends, but the animatronics aren't there, and Mike's like, well, maybe they went off to heaven, and he lets her choose like a prize from the prize counter. There is like that like Freddy Fazbear plushie that plays the horror that whole audio. That was really funny. I'm sorry, it just was. But that's how she gets a fast talker and everything. But it's also where Mike comes across this flyer that says Freddy's is murder, and that's how he is able to contact Henry and find out about like his story with Charlotte, and find out from there that Charlotte was best friends with Vanessa. This whole connecting web, you get it. So he's confronting her about this, like, hey, why the don't you say to me? Why didn't you tell me about this? And during this scene, she's talking about how she gave this music box she had to Charlotte to help her fall asleep, and it basically kept her calm and kept her, I guess, trapped in a way in the box or in the whatever. I don't know. This scene is actually like kind of frustrating because Vanessa's trying to tell Mike that Abby, I think, has gone to the original location, and he just keeps interrupting her. Like, dude, shut up. She's trying to tell you something for once in her life, and you're not listening to her. At this point, Abby has gone back to the original location and met Toy Chica and the other toy animatronics, but she hasn't like set them free from their location just yet. Anyways, back to Abby. So at some point, she's at the science fair. She turns in her little project. She wants to display it and like show it off at the science fair, even after she was discouraged from actually entering the science fair. And then the teacher breaks her project, which, Jesus, dude, you're really that much of a asshole? It's like, there's no reason for it. You just suck. Whatever. So that made her really upset, which understandably so. And that's when she goes back to the original location to talk to Toy Chica and her friends or whatever, and she's manipulated by them to set them free. And Vanessa's also at that location. She went back to, I guess, to confront Charlie or something, and Vanessa knows the code that will turn off the security barricade or whatever that's keeping the animatronics there. So she says the code, which Toy Chica tells to Abby, and then they're set free. Hooray. Well, not hooray, but yay. I don't know. And looks like I was right yet again, because that script page that I pulled and showed in the last video, that was in fact the one that is used in the movie. I mean, I think most people figured that out, honestly. But a win is a win, so I'll take it. So yeah, the animatronics are set free, and off we go into the great outdoors. Hooray. Basically, it's kind of like the same stuff we see in the trailer. Freddy's at Fast Fest or whatever. Toy Bonnie goes to a house. The toy animatronics, besides Toy Chica, they don't have a lot of voice lines. I was a bit disappointed actually, because I really wish they had more speaking lines. And maybe that's just because I'm a basic bitch and I want my fan service. Okay, maybe that's it. But I don't know. I was excited to hear what voices Kellen Goff and Matt Pat were doing, and I know like I'm biased towards them to some extent because they've been in the franchise for a long time. But I was like really hoping we would have more scenes with them, but we really don't. Toy Chica, she is the main one of the toys to have the most screen time, which is fine. I just wish we had more of the toy animatronics. I do think Kellen's voice was really great, as always, and Matt Pat being Toy Bonnie, his voice, I could not believe that was Matt Pat. Listening to it, I'm like, okay, I can kind of hear how it's Matt Pat, but like he did a really great job of making it not sound like just Matt Pat. He's not doing like the Matt Pat game theory voice. He's just doing like an actual voice for Toy Bonnie, and it's one that fits well. I think he did really good. I just wish we had more of them. I was just really excited because these guys, you know, they've been big figureheads in the community for a long stretch of time, and this is like their moment to shine, especially like for Kellen, because he's been a voice actor in the franchise for almost 10 years at this point, since Sister Location back in 2016 or whatever. So I was really excited to hear him, especially, but I think he has less lines than Toy Bonnie, actually. So Blumhouse, if you're listening, get Kellen back for FNAF 3 right now, or I will burn down Freddy Fazbear's myself. And Matt Pat was great too. Okay, get him back. Why the hell not? Anyways, moving on. So at some point, you know, Vanessa and Mike, they go to the original Freddy's location to try and find Abby because I guess they can't find her or whatever. Also, Mike, by the way, went to go visit Henry's house and talk to him about like what had happened with Charlotte and everything. And that's when he realizes, oh, Abby hasn't been going to the Freddy's franchise location that we were at last year, 2 years ago. She's going to the original one. Henry is like telling him like about it and everything. Henry gives Mike a music box that Charlie had. I guess it's like a spare music box that at least like one that he had for the home. And it's explained here that the puppet has control over the toy animatronics. So if you shut down the wireless system that is controlling them, then that's good. So Mike tries to do that while Vanessa tries to find the animatronics in person. And we get some FNAF 2 gameplay moment, which is actually really cool. I wish it had gone on for longer. I really do. This is also when the Wizards come out, as well as Balloon Boy, and they look so good, but we get so little screen time with them. I really, really, really wish we had more with them, because it's like maybe 2 scenes at most. Wizard Bonnie gets the worst of it though. He just like appears in an event and then he's gone. Justice for my boy. His design is so goated, but he gets so little screen time. Justice. It's just a very fun part of the movie that we get to see, like, you know, portrayed somewhat realistically. Also, during this part, 2 things happen. One, Balloon Boy shows up in the room, and I thought maybe they're gonna reference the Freddy's 5 a.m. prequel video. I don't know how they would reference it necessarily because the Wizards don't speak, but I don't know. I just think it's funny. That video is so good. Like they don't like outright reference it, but you know, Foxy does look kind of like squinty. Anyways, yeah, Balloon Boy shows up and Mike just beheads him and like throws his head into the like main area of the restaurant. Like, oh my god, like there was really no reason to do that. I don't know why he was doing that for. And during this segment, Shadow Bonnie actually shows up, and I didn't see this for myself. It was actually my cousin that saw this. I saw this movie with 2 of my cousins, and my cousin he saw it right then and there, and he's like, "You didn't see it?" I'm like, "No." I don't know how I didn't see it. I think it's a really smart Easter egg, honestly. So yeah, the FNAF 2 gameplay segment of the movie ends, and we're back on the road, and Mike is able to disable the wireless system, which is why he leaves. But I guess it turns back on at some point. So the animatronics, the toy animatronics that is, they're going into houses or tracking down certain adults to kill them. So basically, in the movie, Charlotte's whole mindset is that she doesn't necessarily blame William for her death. She blames the adults that didn't listen to her that day, which honestly makes sense. So she wants to get revenge on them by killing specifically those parents, I believe. Or really just, I guess, any parent. So the toy animatronics, that's why they're out and about hunting down these people. I actually really like the Toy Bonnie scene that happens where he's in the house and he's like kind of talking with this little girl, and it's actually like very innocent and sweet. He's just like, you want to be friends? And she's like, yeah. But then he goes downstairs and tries to murder her mom. Also, yeah, there was that whole scene with Mangle and Vanessa while trying to get to where Toy Freddy is. She is still driving after having crashed with Mangle on the car, and she just like slams and basically thrusts Mangle into the house, breaking the window and tackling down Toy Freddy. It was kind of goofy. I liked it, and it was like fun, but it was a little goofy. Like, alright. So the people evacuate from their home, and we get a cameo from everyone's favorite lawyer, Doug. Hi, Doug. Yay. So yeah, all that happens. Meanwhile, Toy Chica is with Abby at the school. While Toy Chica's there, she decides to kill the teacher, Abby's teacher that is, by crushing his skull. Yeah, he's crushed to death. Which, by the way, the toy animatronics, both Toy Freddy and Toy Chica, they say this line that says, I just want to see what's going on inside your head. I definitely thought that meant that they were going to chomp right into their forehead, you know, Bite of 87 style, and I would be proven right, but I was in fact proven wrong. They did not do a Bite of 87 type moment or anything like that in this movie, which actually really surprised me. I thought for sure they were going to do it. So, anyways, after the stupid science fair, Abby goes back home with Toy Chica. Toy Chica is still running, by the way, even though the toys have been disconnected from the system, I guess. But we'll find out why in just a second, because as soon as Abby gets into bed, Toy Chica shatters, and the puppet was hiding inside Toy Chica's torso somehow the entire time. And then Puppet, or Charlotte, whatever, possesses Abby. I was just like, why was she in there? Well, Abby's possessed by the puppet, and she's like tormenting and chasing down Vanessa because Vanessa came in to like get Abby or whatever. Mike comes in with the music box that Henry gave him, and then that's how the puppet stops possessing Abby. Oh, I forgot to mention. So before, while Abby was missing, and after I guess Mike left the original pizzeria, he went back to the other Freddy's location to like see if he could get the other original animatronics help, I guess. And none of the animatronics come out at that time, but we do see that they come in during the end scene of the movie. So yeah, Mike comes in with the puppet music box, puts the puppet to sleep, I guess. But this is when we see the reintroduction of that one guy from earlier, and this guy is Michael Lafton, Vanessa's brother. Again, another thing that Mike was not aware of. And Michael in this movie seems like he wants to carry on his father William's legacy. Yeah, Mike is kind of a smaller antagonist in this movie, so he's carrying on his father's work or whatever. He's like, we need to do this. You can come home, you can join me, we can do this together. And she's like, nah, I think I understand his motivation now. But initially when I saw it the other day, I didn't really understand how like setting Charlotte free was helping him. So I understand, I think now, why he needed the puppet. Basically what I believe most people's theory is that he's manipulating Charlie, the puppet, whatever, into doing the dirty work of killing people for him. I do wish in the movie it was a bit more clear, because at least to me, it didn't really make a whole lot of sense. Let's talk about Michael, just in general, real quick. I think most people kind of feel the same way I do about Michael, that they liked his characters in this movie, but I think some people might be confused by Michael's character in this movie, because Michael in the games, in FNAF 3 and 6 in particular, he is going against his father. He's trying to undo his father's work. But I think a lot of people forget that for a pretty long time, it seems like Michael was very much being manipulated by William into doing his bidding, which I think is kind of what's happening here. His character, I think, is very much like Elizabeth's character from the games, where she was just wanting to make William proud of her. I think Michael is the same way in the movies. Obviously, as we see in Vanessa's dream sequence, and it probably rings true, William said that Vanessa was his favorite. So Mike knew that Vanessa was his father's favorite child, and he is just so desperate for his father's approval that he's going out of his way to continue his father's legacy because he thinks that it'll make his dad proud of him. So I actually like how they do Michael's character in this. I wish that he had more screen time. I'm sure that he'll reappear in the third movie, and I think he'll have a redemption arc. I think since Michael in the games went through some sort of redemption and change, I believe that could happen in the movie as well. Anyways, the original animatronics come in, guys. Here they are to save the day. A lot of people have said it, and I said it myself as we were leaving the theater. It really felt like a Avengers Endgame like type moment. And I mean that in kind of a bad way. I felt like I was expecting to hear like the Avengers theme song start playing or something. I like the idea of the original animatronics coming in to help Abby because she was their friend. The execution just felt really cheesy. I'm sorry. I just felt like the execution was kind of weak for me personally, and my cousins kind of felt the same way. The ending is definitely the weakest part of the movie. It felt very rushed, in my opinion. I think they could have definitely extended it a bit more. So anyways, the animatronics save the day, and because they're outside of their perimeter, I guess, they start shutting down, and the Golden Freddy kid comes out and is like, don't worry, it's fine, and we're going off into heaven now. And yeah, the originals, I guess, disappear. Michael tries to escape, but Jeremiah like makes him fall, or like puts his arm out and like, I don't know, he falls. Which, by the way, I haven't really mentioned it, but Jeremiah was in fact in this movie. He wasn't in it a whole lot. He was in like a few scenes, but I like that he was there. I enjoy him. I want to see more of him, please. He seems like a cool, chill guy. I like that him and Mike have still remained friends, even though he no longer works at the mall or whatever. So after all that crazy bull, they're all leaving the house, Mike's house that is, and as they're leaving, Mike tells Vanessa, you're not coming with us, don't follow us, I don't want to talk to you again because I can't trust you. Honestly, completely fair, and that was like the only thing that my theater had an audible reaction to this entire time. And I've seen Mike get some flack for this online, but honestly, I understand where he's coming from. Vanessa hasn't told Mike anything, ever. She hides a lot of things. She doesn't tell anyone anything. It's all like lies of omission. So I understand, like, he really feels like he can't trust her because she was hiding so much more other stuff that he wasn't aware of. And even in the first movie, there was stuff that she wasn't telling him at first, but he could kind of overlook it because he understood that her father really did a number on her, as he said in the first movie. He just wants to protect Abby, and he feels like the best way to do that is to just have Vanessa out of their lives. But I still think Mike should have listened to her in that other scene when she was trying to tell him stuff. So it's just funny because in my mind, I was thinking back to that line where she was like, I am home. I'm sure Mike in that moment was like, no the you aren't. So yeah, Mike, Abby, and Jeremiah leave, and Charlotte, the puppet, is still there, and she possesses Vanessa, and that's how the movie ends. So this movie ended on the cliffhanger. I called it, man. I called it. Let's go. I'm actually excited about that. I really wasn't sure about that. I mean, it's a fairly vague prediction to make, but I called it. I called it, dude. I was predicting that either Abby or Vanessa would get kidnapped. Of course, Abby was fine, and no one was kidnapped per se. But if you think about it, in a way, Vanessa was kind of kidnapped because she's being possessed by the puppet. So therefore, I win. Am I good or am I good? So yeah, Vanessa's possessed. We cut to the credits and we hear It's Been So Long, Living Tombstone, yet again in the credits. I actually was not expecting to hear this song. I thought for sure they would have chosen like a different song from a different like FNAF music person. I don't think this one fits as well because the song, I'm pretty sure, was made before the second game or something. So it was kind of like making its own little story. It was more so like about like a parent that of one of the kids that went missing, you know, whatever. But they still use it, and they use like only a small snippet of it in a way that kind of makes sense. So it's not that bad. And then we see the mid-credits scene with the teens coming in to like get stuff from Freddy's for this haunted house thing. Wow, I wonder what that's setting up. And we see them throw a tarp over Springtrap, and we very briefly see Springtrap covered in that tarp. And though you can't really see Springtrap too well through the tarp, he does look pretty good. But, you know, we'll see how he actually looks in the third movie. But that was really cool. That's a fun setup and teaser for the third movie. I love that. And then we have the actual, like, end credits scene. It's just audio, really. But we hear Henry. And he does, like, the 3-2, like, leaving Dead Space 3-2-1 thing, like, from FNAF 6. That was really cool. And he leaves a message for Mike about, I guess, the marionette and the puppet, whatever. He says, like, I need to tell you that I actually was William's business partner, and there are other animatronics. I think he says something like that, and that's kind of where it ends. Something, it seems like, cut him off. I don't know if it was the puppet or what, but I guess we'll find out. I assume that Henry will be back for the third movie. He's in like a few scenes, really one scene in this movie. Like, he has to come back for the third one. So that was really cool. I really liked that, and that's the movie. So, of course, like I said, it has issues. There's things I wish were done different or executed differently, but overall, I would still say this is definitely an improvement over the first movie. It was way less repetitive and boring. The first one definitely kind of like, you kind of get the idea of it by the end. I don't think there's really any part where I felt bored. My biggest issue really is the ending, because it just felt really rushed. But overall, I think this was a way better movie than the first one, and I'm just excited for the next one. Of course, it'll be FNAF 3 adaptation type thing. I'm wondering what other stuff will be thrown in there, but I'm gonna say this now. If you want to know what a FNAF 3 movie is gonna be like, you probably should read The Fourth Closet. I might have to actually read it now, because this one, like I said, it's kind of similar to Twisted Ones in a few ways. The first one was similar to Silver Eyes, so I think that's where you're gonna get your clues from, honestly. But I'll make another prediction video whenever that movie getting close to coming out. But in the meantime, I'm excited to have another FNAF movie down and in the books, and I'm excited for the next one and potentially even other ones, and just excited for more FNAF. I like Five Nights at Freddy's, okay? I like Freddy Fazbear. Hello, you made it to the end of the video. Congrats, you made it. Oh my god. So I just finished editing like the majority of this video. This video was way longer than I intended it to be. There was so much I had to cut out of this video. There's like a whole tirade I went on about one complaint I had for the movie, which was about the aunt character from the first movie being mentioned a few times in this second movie, and how I found that confusing. And that's all still true. I just didn't have time for it in this video. I was trying to keep it as short as I possibly could, and it's ending up being like 30 something minutes long. This video was also supposed to come out like way sooner. It was supposed to come out like a week or so after the movie released. It's been like almost 2 months since it released, but look, okay, I had a lot going on. I had a project, I had finals, I had holidays, and then I went on a 2-week long trip. There was chaos all over the place. I just did not have time for it, honestly. I wish I did. Anyways, it's over, it's done, it's now. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. I really, really do appreciate it. The next video is going to be Deltarune. I swear to God, it's gotta be Deltarune. I love talking about FNAF, I really do, but I have got to talk about Deltarune. It is eating me alive. So that's going to be the next video. I'm so excited to put that out there. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching again. Like and subscribe, I guess, if you want to. That I would actually really, really appreciate it. That'd be super duper cool if you did it. That's it. Okay, bye.